Hey everybody, Rob Drieslein here. We are recording a special segment of Outdoor News Radio with Tim Lesmeister. We're going to post this on YouTube and our other social media channels, so if folks want to actually see some of the discussion that they normally hear on a lot of different radio stations out there, they can enjoy our lovely mugs. And Tim joining me now from some new area. I'm not sure where he is, but it's an interesting backdrop you got there, Tim.
Yeah, I know. I decided I was going to experiment with all these different backdrops, and I decided to make it look like I'm a city slicker.
All right, that works. That works. Well, why don't we jump in with radio? How's that sound?
Sounds great.
Welcome back, everybody, to Outdoor News Radio. Rob Drieslein is with you for our final segment, as well as the one and only Tim Lesmeister. I want to thank Tackle Terry Tuma, as well as Sharon Staylor, who joined us for this week's broadcast. So good segments there. You can, by the way, listen online. Go to outdoornews.com or iTunes if you ever want to go and listen to a podcast, a past podcast, if you happen to miss one of our guests. If you like what we chat about here, check us out online, outdoornews.com, or subscribe to the print version by calling 800-535-5191. And with that, joining me now for our final segment is Mr. Tim Lesmeister. Tim, how are you doing, my friend? Quite a bit of interesting news in this week's paper. We talked about a lot of the positive stuff involving birds. Spielman and I did not get into the black bear hunting season, which also looks like it's off to a good start.
You know, this was a power-packed issue. I got to admit that there were some great stories in there about duck calling, about the pheasant numbers, about your wild rice trip, and, of course, the bears. The population is up, and the hunting has been great. Now, they talked about how the bear have less to eat right now, so they're going for the bait piles, which is, you know, great for those that are baiting bear. But I spend my summers up on Malin Island, up on Lake Superior now, and I've never seen more bears. I've got cameras around my house just to watch for animals, and I can't believe how many bear have shown up on that camera this year. Now, I only feed the hummingbirds, but I've got some neighbors that have bird feeders out, and these bird feeders are getting ransacked. Yeah. My neighbor just posted another photo of a bear that has ransacked his bird feeders. They've got to take them in at night now. And so obviously there's more bear. We don't usually get bear quite this close to town. They usually hang farther out on the north side of the island, but they tell me they're running around in packs of bears. Think about this, packs of bears around the airport. So, yeah, there's a lot more bear now, and I think the hunters are going to have a great season because numbers are up, food sources are down. If you want to kill a bear, this is the year to do it.
Minnesota's done a little more active management of black bear populations in our state. I think Wisconsin has too. There's definitely growing interest, I would dare say, in black bear hunting. And I think that's a good thing. I'd like to see a nice, robust bear population in Minnesota. You know, there's pros and cons to that. Yeah, they're tough on bird feeders. They're tough on fawns. Wolves. Everybody likes to beat up on wolves for eating the deer, and wolves eat their fair share. But your son has told me nothing's got a better nose than most species of bears, and they're pretty tough on fawns in the spring.
That's true, and the small moose as well. So yeah, the bear can be tough, and when the population is high, you're going to see that bears will eat anything. I mean, if they find a nest, it's gone. They'll eat the whole nest, everything. I mean, the bears are voracious eaters. Berries, bugs, animals, whatever they can get, they will eat. So
it's kind of funny.
Yeah, I'd say as the population of bears grow, thank God there's going to be more hunters.
It's interesting how the different dynamic of food sources changes up there. When it's a drier year in the north, that generally means less bear food. That means better bear hunting, right? That said, a drier year was good for me on the wild ricing thing. You know, steady lower water levels is good for growing wild rice. So it's been an absolute banner year for wild rice across central Minnesota and northern Minnesota. That's not necessarily good for bears, though. I guess that's one of the few things they can't access. They don't go out there and eat the wild rice, do they?
No, they don't. But think about what it's going to do for ducks when they're transitioning from north to south.
Yep.
Think about what it did for the nesting populations of pheasants. Did you see out, I think every state around us, the pheasant population is sky high. I noticed in one state, I can't remember which one it was, probably South Dakota, up 46%. So yeah, the birds had great nesting. The ducks are going to have great food sources as they head south, as they go through Minnesota. We're going to see that it has improved for a lot of different species. Bear, well, just makes them easier to hunt. So as far as I'm concerned, this has been a phenomenal weather year.
The wild riceling is good for birds migrating back north also. I talked to a couple managers about that, and man, this is good news for duck hunters this fall and for waterfowl this fall. And they said it is, that's all true, but don't underestimate how important it is for migrating ducks as they're heading back north to nest, that there's a lot of wild rice lying at the bottom of the lakes next spring. Hey, one other final note on wild rice. We talked about it a lot last week, but I don't think we talked about the trumpeter swan thing. I took kind of a swipe at trumpeters in my column this week. I'm going to continue to be the guy pointing out that this population of these birds is growing by leaps and bounds. I'm glad they're here, but at some point we're going to have to talk about managing our precious trumpeter swans.
And I think that that's going to probably stay up in the air like a lead balloon. And the reason I say that is because, people like the wolves, so it doesn't matter if the wolf population is at an all-time high and is probably beyond what it should be. They're going to scream, no, we can't hunt those. You know how hard it was to get us a season on cranes. I mean, it's just what it is. People get there and in their head that no, you shouldn't actually hunt these birds. Think about doves. Remember how long it took us to get a dove season in Minnesota? I mean, it's incredible. And so I think that you'll probably see something on trumpeter swans as far as management goes sometime around 3025.
The only
about 100 years from
I'll tell
now.
you what, my ace in the hole in this discussion, however, Tim, is eventually trumpeter swans will begin irritating people, like Canada geese have. I mean, everybody wants to shoot all the geese all the time, right?
Yeah, they do.
And as trumpeter swans expand and they start occupying every marsh and they start chasing people on footpaths, and you think Canada goose droppings are huge? Take a look at some trumpeter swan droppings sometime. And I think eventually when we get to that point with that many birds, that many swans, and it's coming, I really believe it's coming, we're going to see the public say, okay, yeah, maybe we should shoot a few, manage them like we manage everything else. I think eventually that might just happen, Tim.
That's what we call the nuisance factor.
Yeah.
And I've seen it with certain species where we get into the nuisance factor, and that'll probably happen with trumpeters. You're right. It'll be kind of fun when that first season hits because, they'll have to figure out how to compare them to the other birds as far as their edibility, and certain recipes will be popping up about the best way to grill trumpeters.
I love it.
I can hardly wait.
Sounds good to me. Well, we shoot them out. We shoot tundra swans out in North Dakota. We don't shoot them here, however. This is Outdoor News Radio. Rob Drieslein and Tim Lesmeister. We've got just a few minutes left of this week's broadcast. A pretty lengthy piece inside the paper about ammunition. It's hard to find ammunition. Where you can find ammunition, it's overpriced. There's price gouging going on, all that good stuff, especially at the 9mm stuff, and I suppose the 223, the self-defense kind of ammo. We saw this, when did we see it? I guess just before Trump was elected, in 2014, 2015. It was hard to find ammo. Then the past several years, you could go to just about any retailer and you could stock up on that 9mm stuff or the NATO rounds. But this year, between the civil unrest and people just concerned, I guess, with the results of the election, that they're not going to be able to buy guns again. It hasn't happened in the past, but everybody's bound and determined to believe it's going to happen this time. It's a tough time to find ammunition.
Yeah, did you see those numbers? 8 million guns manufactured a year in the U.S., and there was over 1 billion rounds. And we're having a problem getting ammo and guns. Now, the biggest sales items, of course, are the AR rifles and the 9mm pistols. The 9mm pistols are easier to conceal, and the AR rifle is just it's the rifle of choice right now. Most people are buying those in a 7.62 by 3.9 or the 223. Some will shoot both. But it's kind of like one of those deals where we had the Trump slump, and yeah, it was kind of easy to get ammo again. It was pretty nice. For a while, you couldn't buy a box of 22.
No, I remember that.
At least you can still find some 22s on the shelves, but 9mm gone, 223 gone, all of the 30 caliber ammunition gone, and I'm telling you right now that it's definitely the majority of those that are buying these pistols now are people that have never owned a gun before.
Right.
And they're taking classes, they're getting their permits to carry, and they're going out and saying, I'm not going out unarmed. I just read an article by an individual who got his permit to carry years ago, never carried a pistol until now. And he actually went out and bought a brand new carry pistol, paid a premium for it. There's very little doubt about that. Was able to, they threw in one box of ammo with the gun and wouldn't sell him anymore.
Yeah, I mean, how do you even get your practice in when?
I know exactly.
Right, because shooting a handgun accurately does demand practice.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and this is one of the biggest problems. And you hit the nail right on the head. If they're selling these pistols and not allowing the individuals to get the ammo they need to practice, it's kind of a waste as far as I'm concerned. But what will really this will also fuel all the accessories for these guns as well. Just think of these guys that manufacture holsters and all these guys that manufacture laser grips and laser sights and all of the stuff that they can sell along with that, like gun cleaning equipment and bore snakes and stuff like that. I mean, there are companies out there right now that are grinning ear to ear just because they know their sales are going to sky.
A couple of years ago, I went into a couple of retailers, and you'd see boxes of 9mm, 500 rounds for, I don't know, what, Tim, 75, 80 bucks, something like that probably. And I remember, I bought some. I didn't load up because I thought, all those people who overpaid for ammo a couple of years ago, now look what you can buy it for. I guess I should have bought more because it's, like you say, they're getting a great premium price for that stuff now.
If they haven't, I stopped in at a gun shop a couple of weeks ago and said, I need a box of 9mm hollow points because I had been out target practicing and I had my 9mm with me, but I forgot to grab some full jacket, some paper punchers. And I said, I'll just shoot these up and get another box. Well, he laughed.
Right.
He says, you need what?
Yeah.
I said, good luck getting that. He said, I might get another load in a month. He said, come back and see me then, but you better call first.
I'm sure Federal and a lot of these other ammo makers are going 3 shifts, probably around the clock again, huh?
Oh, yeah. Over 1 billion rounds of ammo will be sold in 1 year. So, think about that. This is incredible when you think about all the guns and ammo that are entering the general public.
Part of the issue is raw materials and this supply chain issue we're having worldwide. I think we're kind of working our way through that. We're deep enough into COVID and everything that's been going on that we're getting through some of that. But that was really disrupted earlier this year. Definitely.
Yeah, it was in a lot of different areas. And like I said, right now the gun manufacturers that are building ARs, they can't get parts. They're scrounging right now. They're hiring people and scrounging for materials.
Tim, we probably only have 30 seconds left, but we should mention the Fish and Wildlife Service says that they expect to have wolves delisted by the end of the year. They told me, Aurelia Skipwith, the Fish and Wildlife Service director, back at Pheasant Fest in February, told me it was imminent. This latest story, they're saying, quote, very imminent by the end of the year. You think it's going to happen?
I think it might, but I do believe that they'll all try and push it back into the courts. Aurelia Skipwith made one statement in this article that made total sense. I'm actually going to read it. When groups want to come in and sue, when groups want to come in and sue because of a success like this, it takes away resources from species that need them. Let's quit going after this wolf situation in the courts, fighting delisting, because we've got other species that need it worse. Let's get the wolves and let's start hunting them.
I mostly agree with you. The only area where I tend to disagree with the administration a bit is I do think there are probably other areas in the country where we could have a few wolves. And I hope, delisting doesn't prevent that from happening. But yeah,
I don't think that will happen.
It's time to delist. It's time to allow the states like Minnesota to manage these animals again, without question.
I couldn't agree with you more. Let's get them off the list and start dropping this wolf population a little bit up in northern Minnesota. It's way too high.
All right, Tim. Well, thanks for spending some time with me. Folks can check this out on Facebook and other social media channels if they want to see us in person.
Sounds good.
All right, take care, Tim. We'll talk to you next week. That was Tim Lesmeister. Thank you to him and all of our other guests. Thank you to all the listeners who have joined us for the past 60 minutes. I am Rob Drieslein signing off for Outdoor News Radio.